Alright, I've got the seam joins cleaned up, rescribed, rivets put back in. I need to paint the interior in here and put the clear part on. I'm not sure why. In reality, I would imagine there's a observation window, but in this case it's not, because the floor's in the way. Anyway, I'll paint it. It's injection pin marks in there, you can see. I'm not worried about them. It'll be sitting like that. So like I said, I imagine it was an observation window of some sort for the torpedo or something, or the bombardier or what, I don't know. So the tail, that piece, the front piece slotted in, it is extremely tight fit. So once you start wedging it on, you won't be, well, I wouldn't be trying to get it off in case you break something. Rudder fit, no problems, and the control surfaces, no problems. But again, you can't really, you could probably pose them a touch, but not much, because it's just big square pegs. I've put that part of the wing on for this is the folded side. So I've had a better look at how it actually going to go. Can I remember now? Yeah, like that. There's not much going to hold it on. That's it. That little peg slots into there, and you got that curved section on the leading edge of it there that will rest on the, like that. So it's not that's not a lot holding that big wing. So it's going to need to be really careful when it's together. And if it goes to plan, I'm happy with the build, I'll probably enter it in QMHE. So I'll need to be very careful transporting it. I'm in the process of cleaning up. I've got a couple of little gaps on the leading edge of that wing, a couple on this one, I think, yeah, a bit there. Clean them up, and then I'm going to paint in for the lights, put the clear parts on. This wing light, what I'll do is I'll get a punch. I'll punch a bit of round plastic card, and I'll glue it on there to represent a light. Just, it's crude, basic, but it's a small upgrade you can do to a kit, and it doesn't cost much as long as you got the punch and die set, of course, or you can manage it with something else, I suppose, some other tool. What else here? Oh, the air scoops are on. They're handed, so you follow the call out because they'll fit one way, not the other. But they should, if you did try and get them back to front, they probably shouldn't fit in the recess. The photo etches on them. I've added these there's 1, 2, 3 little tiny little air scoops on the front, and that bit there either side. Be careful getting them off the sprue and cleaning the sprue gate off, that you don't ping them off into the universe. No, that scoop is on as well. There's an antenna that needs to go in, but I won't worry about that yet. I've got to put the arrestor hook on. I can do that now because it's the same colour. The exhausts, they've managed to put some ejection pin marks on there as well for our benefit. So there's 3 on each exhaust. But this time around, fortunately, it faces down. So if you want to just leave it, you can get away with it because you won't see it unless you tip it upside down, of course. I'm not decided yet which one I'm going. They're handed as well, so, but they should only fit, well, you know, the side with the ejection pin marks face down. I've still got the little parts on the wings. Once I start sorting them out, I'll start gluing that on. And then I'm going to start getting all these other little bits, gear doors, the prop, the struts or cabanes for the tail, And the landing gear legs, I've glued the wheels together. I've cleaned them up yet, but I haven't got the tail wheel off. I'm going to do the torpedo, so it's getting there slowly. Alright, so the wing looks like it'll fit all good. Looks good to me. It's flush, which is the main thing. There's a gap at the back, but that's because that's the control surface, so the flap should be a gap. And the underside looks good as well. Yeah, so I'm going to go over again these wings, clean them up, and do the that little light, and put the other ones on, paint them in, and paint. So it's good how they've done this. You can paint the actual bulb, the colour, and leave everything else clear instead of painting the whole thing the colour. Alright, this window on the underside, it got the better of me, and what I did is I cut out some plastic card and just to cover all those ejection pin marks, and just sat it in there. So I've primed it, I still got to paint it. That way, if you do look under it, there's no ejection pin marks. They were pretty big ones, and it was annoying me. The window, I did a dry fit. It didn't really fit, so I had a little chisel and scraped the ends so that the top end there and the back side of it, and it fits better. Well, it fits properly now. It wasn't fitting in, it was sitting up. So yeah, I'll paint that. Alright, the lights, so you can see I've sprayed in aluminium. I've put in my little piece of plastic card, and I've put a dollop of super chrome on it, so I can put the clear part on. I got to paint, so I'll paint the wing light. These rear ones are not lights, apparently. They are just painted in the aircraft colour. And I've looked at some images that I could find. It's hard because most of them are black and white, but from what I can tell, it's correct. The lights are just on the front, not on the rear. So unless later they're doing another variant maybe that has lights, I don't know why they've done that. But anyway, I just paint over them. What else? That's it for the moment. I just want to point that out, that I made an effort to clean that up a bit. Yeah, and about the lights. Alright, I have put some CA glue on there. I'll sand it back and check it and do it again if I need to. Again, it's attention to detail, I guess, just making sure the ones that are possibly visible I try and get rid of. Well, you can see I've masked up my canopy pieces. In hindsight, I would have just used the single piece one, because the multi-piece one, all they show you is where they sit. They don't show you posing it open. And at this way it is now, I can't fit the last piece in. It's not quite wide enough. Oh, that's a good one. So I'll paint them off because they fit where they're supposed to. So I've glued the windscreen and the rear section in, and it was after that when I noticed that you can't really pose it open. So and I was too late because I used extra thin to glue those two pieces on. I wasn't going to start pulling it apart. So what I'll do is I'm going to sit the pilot's canopy on top, and you can see it's too thick really. It should probably be thinner. I found images of it actually of the aircraft in flight with that open, low level. And it's the pilot's got his canopy open while he's flying it, which is interesting. I'm just going to sit it, probably pose it like so. I'm not going to thin the canopy, but you could do, but I don't really feel like sanding the inside of the clear part and then polishing it and all that, and also risk breaking it while I'm sanding it. So I'll have that one open, and then I'll have I guess this one open, sitting up there like that, so I can put the other piece in there. And again. So, I mean, I'll make it work, basically. That piece there has got the hole in the clear part, so you have to put it over that antenna, because that antenna plugs into that deck. But it's no problem. Again, I can paint that off. I've just got that loose fit. So the antenna's just a loose fit too, but it's a firm fit. So because I'll need to paint the antenna as well, obviously, and then that just comes in. So it's a bit like, you can see what I mean. They're just showing you where it sits when it's shut, not how you should pose it open, basically. And all of it, it's really, like I've mentioned several times, it's hard. There are a lot of images of the aircraft, but not ones you want. And the only one I could find was with the pilot's canopy open. I can't find it with other windows open, which way they slid and whatnot. So yes, I would come back again and just put this on. But having said that, I've just noticed you'll have to, if you want to use a single piece, you'll have to sand them out, because they're not in this piece. It's so that's odd too, that they managed to mold that without a seam line, but they've got one on that one. So that's not part of the canopy. That if you use this, you need to take that out and polish it up. Anyway, so I mentioned I've used so you don't get masks. You can see the masks are just for the windows. I've put that bottom one in, and the canopy, the mask set. You don't get masks for the wing lights, so I've used Mr. Masking Sol R for that. Now, I made up that, how I said, the wing light. I punched out a piece of plastic card and glued it into the light. And again, I go off and do things and I don't check ahead. When I come to get that clear part off the sprue, it's got a moulding inside of it, which is unfortunate really, because there's no need for it, but it's got a solid piece inside of it. So I had to remove that disc I cut, and fortunately it fit inside. It's got like a hollow moulding in the middle of it that I could push the light I made, but I don't understand why they mould it like that. I was just thinking it'd just be a semi-dome shape that just glued into the wing, but it's got a solid section inside. But I still managed to use my light. And as mentioned, that they're just painted, so I was just holding that up because I went thick with the Solar. That bottle's getting old, so it's getting a bit thick, so it's hard to apply. So basically I'm going to paint the model just with those parts glued on. The rest I'll paint off, and I'll have to work out what colour camouflage is where on it. I'll probably just do this scheme, the main scheme. That's the same scheme, just different squadron. And I do like the Asian theatre roundels. It's different. You don't see a lot of models with the, well, I guess there's a fair few, but not as many as just traditional British roundels. But I don't like the colour scheme on that one. It's just brown and green. I love the slate grey and dark sea grey. That's one of my favourite camouflages, so I'll be doing that one. And I'm only choosing this one because it's got that nose up. So Hell's Bells, whatever it is, but yeah, otherwise that's the same paint, same colours, just that's the only difference in those up. So just waiting. I'm gonna prime my wings again, make sure I've got no more gaps, and then I will glue that wing on for painting. So that one will be on for painting, this one will be off, as well as this bit I'll paint off as well, because it's got to be all folded up. And also I forgot to mention, I did drill out where the ejection pin marks were, and it's either or. You can leave them there, but you can tell they're ejection pin marks, whereas now, for those who don't know, you'd think, oh well, that's just how it's like a honeycomb type thing in the part of the actual aircraft. But however way you want to go with it, or I could have continued on and made it do it one there as well, like opposite parts, or do every panel, but I'm just leaving it with that because I'm lazy. Alright, onwards. Alright, we got the wing on, all good, fit, no problems, and I knew that by the dry fit that it'd be okay. I've overlooked, hang on, let's go back. So I've gone back to where I was doing the folded wing, which is this one, and I've seen a part I've overlooked during the steps. As I mentioned earlier, to me, this is just all over the place how they've laid it out. So this part, let me get it right around, so it's like that, other way. It'll sit one way, so it's a piece of frame that sits inside there. So it sits there like that. For ease of painting, I'll paint it and then put it on later, but that's something that can be seen because that's the folded wing, that's all. All the other little bits I'll leave off, like I mentioned earlier. And you also remember, right, what have we got? When your radar antenna and that other little bit, just remember you have to put your randle on, and by the looks of it, that randle is sitting over where they plug in. So again, it's better to paint and put them on later anyway, just for ease. You don't bump them off, but keep in mind you might need to put a decal there, so you definitely don't want to put them on, otherwise you are going to cause yourself major problems. The torpedo halves together, 2 bombs. So like I said, I think I mentioned that this wing I'm going to put the bombs on, other wing is folded. I won't put the bombs on, but I'll put the pylons on. Now, where were they at? The pylons, back this way. Alright, the pylons, again, the image they give you, let me see, make sure I've got, so you got an image of the pylon. It's pretty, you can't make much out from that image, but when I took them off the sprue, I think, oh, it's the same either way. It doesn't matter which way it faces, but it does. It's one end has got, if you look at the side of the pylon, all the hot little holes in it, one end's got a whole heap more holes than the front end, so that's the rear end. It's a little bit longer from the peg, and it matters too with the sway braces because they're two different part numbers. So you got D25, that's the front one, and that's got the bit that'll the bomb pushes into, that slot in the bomb. So it's definitely got to go a certain way. Well, I've started just doing other little odds and ends. So I got the I had a look see how this works. So this piece is part of the undercarriage. It's so odd, this aircraft. That plugs into there. Doesn't want to sit there, but that sits on there like that, and the gear leg plugs into there. It's just one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. I don't know how it actually all worked when it, so that I'm guessing that folded in, that folds down. Oh, and then the leg just it's just how they've engineered the actual aircraft. Weird. So that was two parts. That's no problem with them. The gear leg had two shallow ejection pin marks on it, so they've even managed to get some on there. The gear doors have got heaps of ejection pin marks in them, and I'm over filling in ejection pin marks. I'm just leaving them because they face inwards to the wheelbase. They'll be harder to see, and the gear leg sits on that one. It'll cover up some of them, but it's just, I think the apprentice at Trumpeter designed this kit. This, where was that? Backwards and forwards here. Right, so the bracing for the tail, it's how they've engineered this too, is you've got to glue that one, there's a tiny little piece, so that tear shape mount that plugs into the fuselage, you have to glue half of that on, and it's, so you got to be careful getting it off the sprue and cleaning up the ejection gate so that it sits flush on there. I don't understand why they couldn't have just molded it as one piece. And then it goes which way? This way. It's too, I think it's too long. Hang on, wrong way. That way. That'll plug into there. Maybe. I did it before without the little piece I glued on. It's too, I think I've got to shorten it because it's going to bow. Ugh. See how it's bowed? So I need to sand a bit of the end off. But anyway, at least it fits. That bit that I glued on. Just, I don't know, some things just seem over the top. I could have done it simpler. This is loose fit. You can just see I just pulled it all apart. I think I mentioned this earlier when I did the review. So they just plug in. You just push in as a because I picked one that doesn't sit in. One of them's a bit tighter. No. Anyway, there's a slot in there, and there's a slot on the back of that propeller shaft that it just sits into. The actual pitch of the blades. I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but that's how it's engineered, so that's how I'm doing it. I will glue it all together because it's all, the whole spinner and the blades are black, so there's no need to paint them separate. It's easier to glue it together and then paint it. And again, I don't understand why they couldn't have just molded the propeller blades as a one piece instead of this. But anyway, it is what it is, isn't it? What else? Yeah, so I'm just sort of trying some of these parts to see how it's all going to fit together. I'm just about ready now. I'm going to start. I'll mask off my cockpit area. Oh, that's the other thing I put on. That's for the torpedo, so the pylon for the torpedo. It's all good there. I can still get that mask off, so I've just glued it on there because it'll be the same colour as the underside, which is sky. So I'll mask that off. I'm going to prime it, and then I'll come back and show how I'm tackling with my priming and pre-shading and whatnot. Yeah, and I'll finish cleaning up some of this and getting the other side ready. Alright, got some primer down, some pre-shading, and my splatter effect. So I've used the what's that company called? Propeller 77 stencil. So I've primed it with grey, sprayed white through the stencil, and then pre-shaded black. So I've just done where I'm painting the sky colour, and when that's painted I'll mask that off and then come back, repeat the same process, grey, white, black, pre-shading. And I've also got that section of the wing done. So I will be using AK real colours for the scheme. So I'm using, for the Sky, Royal Air Force Sky, FS3 4424, and the real colour number is 290. Of course, I think they've changed to plastic bottles now, but it should still be the same number. So you can see that is the colour, and I quite like, well, I love AK Real Colour paints. They do good colours. So I'm going to proceed to paint the underside now, and then we'll have a look, see